Okay, so this is probably the only really technical part of this process, this next bit. And I'm deliberately putting the camera down on the side so you can see what I've done. I've floured the surface quite a lot. I've also floured a proving basket. So this is one of the only kind of specialist bits of kit that you would need to follow this method. Although actually you don't really need it. You can use a bowl if you need to, just flour the bowl, but you can see I've floured it carefully inside there. I've then got my dough, which has now been resting for 24 hours. It looks a bit like that, so it just looks like a bit of a kind of bubbly blob is sticking to the sides. And what you need to do is you need to turn that out to the side. So I'm just going to do that quite quickly. I just do that by sort of gently sort of scraping it off as I tip it, because you can probably see there, it's kind of getting, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the light, but you can sort of see the bits are sticking. So it's still quite a wet dough. And then basically what I need to do is keep tipping it, keep scraping it as I go, so as much of it as possible ends up in the final bread rather than on the side of the bowl. And I'm going to keep doing this. Oh yeah, one of these little cake kind of palette things is quite useful, because I find that just useful for scraping it off, but I think you could use pretty much any type of kind of a spatula or something. I find this just quite useful. I also find this useful when I'm getting out the proving basket actually. Right, now this, as I say, is about the only sort of technical bit, so get rid of that. Make sure you flat. I tend to flour the top of the bread, or top of the dough, sorry. And then I also tend to flour my hands quite heavily as well. Now, what I then do is pull it away from me. You'll see books talking about this: pull away, fold, then pull away from another side, fold, pull away from the next side, fold, and do that if you can 4 times. You can stretch it about a fair bit, and then basically you've just got to shape it into a bit of a ball. Now I sort of do that by putting my hands, swiveling it and pushing slightly under. Okay, but you can see why you need to have the side reasonably floured to do that. I'm sure you're meant to get rid of these kind of air bubbles, but I don't tend to bother that much, to be honest. But actually this is quite quickly forming into a reasonable kind of circle. Reasonable blob, again a sort of round blob though. I believe, as I say, what you want to do is cup your hands underneath it a bit to try and get the surface area, but again, I'm no specialist either. I sometimes sort of turn it over as well to kind of fold in more of the bottom. But again, it's just, all you're trying to do is get it into a roughly round kind of shape. You know, a bit like if you were making a snowball or something like that. It really doesn't matter that much. And then you're basically trying to put it, get it roundish, and then the folded over, or the folded underside just needs to go in the bottom of the proving basket. So you're just doing that. And again, you're going to cover that in cling film, just lightly over the top. And you're going to leave that for about an hour and a half, I recommend, maybe even 2 hours. Okay, but whatever you do, 45 minutes before you want to have your bread ready, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need a cast iron pot like this. So this is just a cheapy Sainsbury's one I've used a lot. You can see it's already marked. But basically 45, even maybe 50 minutes before you want to actually put the bread on, you're going to need to put this in the oven. I put it on as it is with the oven cold. I then turn it up to 230, and then I just leave it to come up to temperature and then to be at 230 for a good 25-30 minutes with the metal thing inside. And that's basically that stage, and I'll film in a little while what that then is once this is preheated. Okay.